you know what's happening, right? The CARES Act, when they passed the CARES Act, that was supposed to help people during COVID when they shut down everyone's business. They passed the CARES Act. Now that had that $1,200 payment to everybody and unemployment insurance, right? Now that's what an AOC called crumbs, because that's what it was. They gave $5 trillion to the richest people in the country, and they gave you $1,200, and you're still struggling. And what is the result of that? This. Nearly 19 million Americans could lose their homes when the eviction limits expire December 31st. Hey, Happy New Year. Thank God 2020 is over, am I right? This is the result of the CARES Act that every progressive voted for, including Bernie Sanders. Why didn't they vote against it? To warn people about what was happening, that there wasn't any relief for people in the CARES Act. Why didn't they do that? Because they're all corrupt. Even the people who don't take corporate money bend the knee to the people who do because of power. That's what happened. Thousands of cars formed lines to collect food in Texas. That's what happened. Because of the CARES Act that every progressive voted for. This is the result. And Nancy Pelosi wouldn't give people a stimulus before the election, and now she says this. Families struggling for months already to keep a roof over their head and to put food on the table can't afford to wait. They need urgent help right now. I thought you said we feed them. What happened to that? Remember this? This is the CARES Act. This is when she was supposed to get, this is when the Democrats had leverage. This is when the progressives in Congress had leverage. Because the oligarchs wanted their $5 trillion. And Nancy Pelosi gave us nothing. And while she gave them $5 trillion, she gave us crumbs. According to AOC, she gave us crumbs and she made every Democrat vote for it, and they did, including AOC voted for it. Anybody who tells you otherwise is a liar. And do you remember when she was asked about it by Jake Tapper? Hey, how come you didn't put any funding in there for the state governments and local governments? And why isn't there any fucking money in there to help people? What are you doing? You remember what she said?
So Cuomo says he would have insisted on state funding in the last bill. And now Senator McConnell saying he wants to push the pause button.
Yes.
Was this a tactical mistake by you and Senator Schumer?
Just calm down. We will have state and local, and we will have it in a very significant way.
Never happened. Just calm down. We're going to have state and local. We're going to have it in a very significant way. She's the Speaker of the House. She can't speak. Just calm down. We're going to have relief for state and local, and we're going to have it. And here we are, 6 months, 7 months later, 8 months later. Families struggling for months already. Yeah, I know. Remember you were told that?
So Cuomo says he would have insisted on state funding in the last bill. And now Senator McConnell saying he wants to push the pause button.
Yes.
Was this a tactical mistake by you and Senator Schumer?
Just calm down. We will have state and local, and we will have it in a very significant way. It's no use going on to what might have been the administration.
No use in talking about what we actually should have done.
No use talking about our failure.
No talking about our failure, the way we let down the American people. And look at Jake Tapper's face like, no, shit. Nancy Pelosi now backs a stimulus deal half the size of what the White House offered before the election. Because she doesn't really want to help you. But if Trump's name is not on it, maybe you can get a crumb or two. I wonder if she's only going to eat half an ice cream bar. In a Wednesday statement with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she supports an economic relief measure presented by a bipartisan group of lawmakers. A bipartisan group.
Thank God.
Bipartisan. You know what that means? There's an extra screwing coming your way. Bipartisan meaning it's shitty and the Democrats are willing to help sell it. The bipartisan bill is roughly half the amount offered by the Trump White House during the negotiations with Pelosi before the election. Jesus. And don't forget, Democrats also didn't call Steve Mnuchin's bluff, which cost the American people an extra week of stimulus. If you had Democrats negotiate buying you a house that costs $100,000, by the time the Democrats were done negotiating, that house would cost you $150,000. Nancy Pelosi is willing to let you starve and lose your house because she doesn't like Donald Trump. Because to the ruling class, this is all just a game and you are disposable. She would let you die for her own ego. In October, President Trump's negotiators raised their compromise offer to $1.8 trillion after House Democrats had approved $2.2 trillion package. Pelosi opposed the compromise, arguing that it did not go far enough and that the language regarding the government's health care response to the coronavirus pandemic was not sufficient. Those negotiations resulted in a stalemate, and nobody got relief before the election, and she lost seats in the House. On Tuesday, 9 senators, 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats and 1 independent were joined by the bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus in the House to unveil a compromise deal. Although the package does not include nearly as much aid as Democrats pushed for before the election, Pelosi and Schumer said that they were backing this legislation in the spirit of compromise. And AOC, Rashid Tlaib, Ro Khanna, they all just voted for Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker. And here's what she wouldn't do for people.
The president does not want to legislate and just want to have his name on a check. That ain't going to happen.
So when the bailout she engineered, this is what it did. The COVID-19 bailout, the CARES Act, gave Wall Street a no-lose casino, while it gave you crumbs. March 26, 2020, the House voted on the CARES Act. Whatever. This is what Nancy Pelosi said to the people to get them to vote for it, the Democrats. She said, whatever concerns we may have and whatever we want to do next, right now, we're going to pass this legislation. Because Wall Street wants their fucking check, and they're getting it. So whatever big plans you have about helping people or getting them health care or mortgage relief or whatever the fuck, we're not doing that. We're doing this. And we're doing this right fucking now. Before anybody catches on to what we're doing. That's why they did it so fast. Nancy Pelosi, I don't think Democrats want a new direction. So right now, the progressives in Congress can withhold their vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker when it comes in January. And they can force her to give us a vote for Medicare for all. They can force her. Now, 9 out of 10 Democrats support Medicare for all, and most Republican voters. So now would be the time to pass Medicare for all or have a vote for it. So they could do that. They could say, Nancy Pelosi, we're withholding our vote unless you agree to have a vote on Medicare for all. And if you don't, we're not going to vote for you. And then Kevin McCarthy becomes Speaker and you lose a speakership. It's up to you. That's how you play hardball. So if the progressives are going to ask you to vote for them and then they're going to go to Congress and not do that, there's no point to vote for them. But I want them to make me eat my words. I hope AOC makes me eat my words. Make me do it. Go ahead. Force Nancy Pelosi to pass Medicare for all. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you we join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.